た真剣な目をしたから、そこから何も書けなくなるの星屑ロンリネス。きっと愛する人を大切にして知らずに臆病なのね。落ちた涙も見ないふり、すれ違いや回り道をあと何回過ぎたら二人は触れ合うの。お願いタッチタッチ、ここにタッチ、あなたから風を伸ばして受け取ってよ。ため息の花だけ束ねたブーケ。愛さなければ寂しさなんて知らずに過ぎてゆくのに、そっと悲しみにこんにちは。涙と笑顔測ってみたら涙が少し重くて、ダメね横顔で泣いてみた。青春はね心のあざ、知りすぎてるあなたに思いが空回り。お願いタッチタッチ、ここにタッチ、切なくて手を伸ばして受け取ってよ。ため息の花だけ束ねたブーケ。呼吸を止めて1秒、あなた真剣な目をしたから、そこから何も聞けなくなるの星屑ロンリネス。誰も愛さなければ寂しさなんて知らずに過ぎてゆくのに、そっと悲しみにこんにちは。
Wagwan boys, how's it going? I'm doing alright. A bit of a fucky day, you know, fucking slept a lot, didn't do much. Gonna stream now. Yeah, it's a bit of a nothing shit at the moment, but it's fine. It's fine. Sometimes you got those days, especially on a Sunday, innit? Right. First of all, I haven't played this game in over 2 weeks, so let's go do the weekly. Only berserkers allowed. Oh dear. That's gonna be interesting. Do 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 do. Okay, no. Is that all there is? Alright. Fucking do that one then. Speaking of suicidal, let's go and watch some Panic Man. Oh look, he's been playing Back for Blood. Fuck, no. He has a lot. He dropped like fucking 4 hours of fucking content. 4 hours of content, dude. My man is mad. In one day, by the way. Not in the span of a week. In one day, he dropped 4 hours of content. It's fucking mad. Aren't... Wait. I thought only fucking berserkers were allowed. The fuck?
Last chance. I have to power down the pod.
In your face, pal.
More Zeds on the scope. Back to it, mes amis.
Turns out it's true. Blood is
Big up Sietso.
Who needs an airstrike when you can shoot like that? It's off control.
A solid start, but many Zeds remain.
feeling good as new, Bob.
Nice to catch a stream. Fuck. I'm shit as Berserker, dude. I don't think I can do this weekly.
Got any more?
Especially not because I'm a level 8 Berserker. Maybe that's not a good idea. Especially non-suicidal. And I have no practice with it as well.
And the Zeds bled red. Whoa! That's right. Woo boy! Flesh pound! That's how you get this Billy rockin'. Ha!
She's alright at it, actually. Like, she's actually kind of decent.
Eat this! You bargain basement Arnie impersonator!
Let me turn off my fucking battle.net because people are going on fucking Warzone, Luke. How you doing, Sietso? You having trouble sleeping? Oh, you fucker. You downloaded Diablo? Yeah, I did. But, Goon kind of pointed out that I haven't played KF2 in like 2 weeks.
Range, but breaks into a sprint when he gets close to its victim.
So I said to Luke, like, yo, rain check on the Resident Evil. Rain check on the Resident Evil, because I am gonna go and play KF2. Okay, so you can hold this to block. Alright, that's good. And then if you release it, you can do stuff like that. You're busy.
Got ammo?
Cool, cool.
Ammo's good.
It is fucking hot today.
Time's almost up. Vite.
I'm not killing, I'm not earning, which is bad. Got a weapon here!
Pod's closed. Go make a difference.
Go make a difference.
More money would be useful. Fate mocks me. Ready yourselves.
This game also has no weight to the weapons. Probably even less than Back 4 Blood. Can we just have Vermintide combat in every game?
I shoot. You're a nut.
Hi. How is he able to move like? Oh, yeah, he's a level 25 Berserker. Yep, that makes sense.
I powered you. Ready to take on the world.
I have no idea how to play this fucking berserker dude.
Fit as a fiddle.
Why is it taking me so long to kill one fucking enemy? Here comes fucking field medic for the save.
Glad to see you made it through. Make for the pod. and
Yeah, I made it
clear
through,
out.
but I'm probably the shit us out here. Yeah, kinda.
I like it when everyone makes it out alive.
You're still with it.
You
All
earned the
still with
money.
us.
Now spend it.
I don't really want to spend it. I'm not gonna make a lot of money with this berserker, dude.
That's right. I'm a
No Zweihander? I don't have enough money. I do not have enough money to buy Zweihander. Right, review of new Final Fantasy Island. Fantasy Island, sorry.
Everyone alive?
Hey guys, Panicman 10 here. Yesterday was the release of the new Fantasy
chance.
Island
I have to power down the pod.
2021, the very first episode, right? So I didn't feel up to watching it yesterday, so I just got
More
around
Zeds
to
on
it
the
just
scope.
now and watched
Back
it.
to it, mes amis.
It's on my PVR, you know, it's on CTV, right?
Warrior will always
PVR!
I would wait to see what this is like. I
Ew.
had concerns about it originally being a woke show because it did have a female lead in it taking the place of Mr. Rourke. So let's just talk about this. This could be all over the place. I do apologize. I don't have bullets for that, so I'm going off the top of my head here. I am rather tired right now, and I just got done watching it, and it's only 5 o'clock at night, you know, and I'm all over the place, my hours and that sort of thing, so I do apologize. So anyway, I watched the show. I'm massively disappointed in a number of ways, and I'm concerned about it. I'm going to
Fucking
give
hell.
it a couple episodes
Woo!
just to see, because sometimes these shows take a while to build, right? But my concerns right out of the box was, is this going to be a
I
woke
died.
show? And I can see by the end of it, it could be. So here we have at the beginning,
You want seconds?
we don't have, oh, okay, God, this is going to be hard to do. Okay, so we don't, like, there's a lot to talk about.
Faking.
We don't have strong characters here. We have very weak actors and actresses. We have very weak performances here. And we don't have the, I don't know how to put this, but just by saying, but oomph, if that makes sense, you know, that made the original work. You
Do
know,
like a bit of oomph.
it's not dark and gritty and hard like the original was. Because if you remember in the original ones, and I should talk about this sometime, you know, with Ricardo Montalban and the guy who played Tattoo and that sort of
Fuck
thing.
even is if it,
Boss, the plane,
fuck even is
right?
Fantasy Island, dude.
We don't get that kind of energy at the beginning of the show. We get her paying homage to her grandfather. So this is the successor to Fantasy Island. I'm going to say it's not a successor in my opinion because I am a fan of the original. I'm going to say it's a spiritual successor. There are some elements it got right and a lot of stuff it got wrong, right? So I like the energy to draw me in right at the beginning, right? She's not charismatic like Ricardo Montalban was. She's not, she doesn't, like, you know, the voice in this and that, it lacked the emotion. It lacked the energy. It lacked the
Oh dear.
rawness of the characters. And I'm talking about all the cast, right? The casting in this is just horrible. When you watch the originals, Mr. Rourke gets you right at the beginning.
Nah, we're done. We
Here's
done.
the plane,
No?
Tattoo's up there ringing the bell, you know, boss, the plane, right? And then his voice is very commanding. His presence is very commanding. You know, this is a guy of power, of prestige. And he presents himself as such in a tux, right? And he's there and he's like, Welcome to Fantasy Island. You know, I can't do it the way he does it. He's charismatic, right?
Fuck
And
is
you
Fantasy
feel
Island, dude.
a sense of power about this guy, that there's just something wrong about him, you know, that you really shouldn't be here on this island. You know, there's something disturbing about this character. And this is just from the opening, right? That's missing here.
It's a horror movie?
I won't say charisma, what is it? The chemistry between the characters in the original. Tattoo, the guests even, right? Had a ton of charisma, right? Had a ton of chemistry, right? Where you cared about the characters, and week after week you're wondering who was going to be the next guest on the island, and you were curious about the stories that they had to tell. This was Saw before Saw was Saw. I'm saying this at the beginning of this for a reason, because this is the successor to the old one. So I will talk about the old one another time. Like, you know, it will have its moment, but you need to know what the old one was like. You know, it had very dark, gritty, heart-pounding elements to it. You were just like, this is wrong. So you see, in the original ones, people would come to the island with a fantasy in mind, and it would be lighthearted and start off like that. But then as the fantasy went along on the island, the theme got darker and darker and darker, because there was a moral, there was an issue, ethnic values that you needed to learn from it. So think of it this way: it was like Saw before Saw was a thing. Okay, we're talking about the 70s here. So that's what that show is loosely. Like, you know, I'll get into it another day. You know, about the original one and why it was so fucking awesome, right? Why the movie failed. You know, I never did cover that in my videos yet. And so they come up with this new one that just aired just yesterday, literally. Aired on the 10th, and this is the 11th, right, of August. I watched it, and it lacked all those elements that made the first one, like the original, so awesome. Now at the beginning, she's like sitting here at the altar. Well, it's like an altar, it's a shrine, right? And she's sitting on the floor, lotus position, and, you know, paying homage to Mr. Rourke, the original one, and she's the successor to the island. Now she owns the island. The island called to her, allegedly, this is what she says in the show, and so she's the next one taking over the island, because Mr. Rourke dies. I don't recall that happening in the original show, by the way. Okay, so obviously they killed off the character here. I don't like that idea, because this island is magical. Keep this in mind. Magical, it's Mysterio.
Yeah, the actor's probably dead, dude.
You know, and it has magical energies about it, magical properties that just way beyond our comprehension, right? Don't forget, in the original one, Mr. Rourke faced off against the devil, and that was a very intense show, you know. And even Mr. Rourke was so powerful that the devil couldn't take him down. So to kill off the character here, and to say that Mr. Rourke died, is bullshit. Because in the originals, he was so powerful, he even beat the devil at his own game. Mr. Rourke was not someone to fuck with. Okay, you felt this, you knew this. As you watched week by week, it was fucking dark as hell, you know. And Ricardo Montalban did a fucking amazing job at doing Mr. Rourke. You felt his presence.
How am I not killing this guy? Isn't this supposed to be parry and then kill?
You know,
and that great
to it. It's very complex, and everything about the original I loved is what's missing here. I'm not going to say it's the successor, though it is billing itself as the successor, because it's saying, look, Mr. Rourke died. I have a massive problem with that. There's no way in hell this guy could die. This guy would be eternal. And I'm going to explain that even more, because one of the episodes in this very first show talks about that. And I'll give you the title later on about the show so you know which one to watch. And so, it's impossible for Mr. Rourke to die. Let me just put it to you that way. Unless they killed him off in the originals, and I don't remember that happening, but I remember him having a battle with the devil, and that was really intense. You know, and I never recalled Ricardo Montalban's character being killed off at all.
Don't bleed on
And if he
me.
wasn't killed off, then there's no reason for this chick to take over because he was too powerful. Even the devil tried and he didn't win.
The actor
And
died
the
in
devil was
2009.
acted by an amazing actor. I wish I could remember his name there. Stockwell or something like that. I can see him in my mind, right? And I'm just trying to remember what the hell his name was. He was a really popular actor back then too, in the 70s, right? So anyway,
You don't need money to feel good.
this new series
We
kicks
see much
in,
limit for you there. Hurry up. The Zeds are
and
getting closer.
Kicks in.
it's his granddaughter
Yeah,
taking
we all
over.
listen to Tick.
And so it's still in the blood. And she's taking over the business.
I'm in the mood for some fucking
which is
chocolate.
the island.
Get back to work.
And she's paying homage to him. You see a picture
How are you guys
of them
doing,
there, like, you know, a family picture, right?
This Sunday.
And, it feels very bland because here she is
Get over here,
in her
bitch.
underwear, you know, and then
Oh,
she
no, not
puts
her
on
underwear.
a white suit, you know,
White suit.
gets up to greet the guests. Okay, so this is like the beginning that we're brought into. And if you know, the original one was always about tattoo ringing a bell, going boss to plane the plane. So Mr. Rourke knew that they had company, so he could get ready for the company, go meet the company, meet the guests, and then set the stage.
Isn't
every
company
now
and
then
guests
we'd
the
talk
same
to
thing?
Tattoo about what was going on in Tattoo, would talk to him. They had very intense moments there, you know, throughout all the different shows. And there were very dark themes to every one of them. They weren't light only at the beginning. All this is missing in this, right? It's all missing. So we start off with her at the shrine. The pilot flies in with the company, and it looks like she has a thing with the pilot. And it looks like the pilot is going to become the new Tattoo until I saw the ending of the episode where I think I know where they're going with this, okay? And it does become woke. If I'm right, and I have to watch the next week episode to find out, and we'll find out if I'm right. So, the problem here is that it lacked the energy and the
More chocolate?
presence of the
Yeah, more chocolate.
character, the charisma of the character.
I think I
than
hate
the
Berserker.
original had.
It's
I'm not
mostly
being
'cause I don't
sexist
understand
here.
it.
I'm not saying it because it's a female actress. I'm not. I approach this with a completely open mind. I'm like, okay, new generation, possible they could get it right. The actress is very bland. She's very dull. She's very boring, and she's uninteresting. All the relationships on the island are uninteresting. The characters are bland, boring, and dull. And the way the shows go is kind of like what they did in the original, but they're dull, they're bland, they're boring, and uninspired. And they're nowhere near as dark as what the other one was. Here, let me paint you two pictures. There's two episodes that happen in this, okay? There's a couple going there.
It's a good looking
because the
sword,
woman's
but
dying of cancer,
realistically,
and they're both incredibly old.
a sword
And I
that
mean,
bend,
like 80s old,
it won't
okay?
work.
And then there's this other woman that comes on, and she has a problem with eating, okay? And so
Glad to see you made it.
it
through.
starts off light, which it should, because that's how it happened in the original, and I'm cool with that. But I just found the characters bland. Like, you take the woman here, who has an eating problem, right? And she starts bitching out the guy that was handing out donuts before the show, and, you know, it goes live, and then she just takes it out on all the men and blames men for, like, you know, you can see where I'm going with this. It's a woke moment, right? Blames men for eating habits and all this and everything like that. And there's this guy
this the
that
new
was
gun
abusive in her past and everything
that
like
Berserkers
that.
get?
She deal with it.
Into pieces.
So,
My armor.
what this show is trying to do with the new Fantasy Island, with this particular storyline,
Nah.
is go, okay, you have an eating
can,
problem. Here's
new
what
gun you
caused
can
to have
fucking,
an eating problem.
dual
Then we're going to
wield.
get into the dark side of it, and then by the end of the show, you're going to thank me for it because you've had a new awakening. Now, with the originals, that's exactly what happened. It starts off lighthearted. Welcome to Fantasy Island. Very charismatic with Mr. Rourke and Tattoo, right? But then it would get dark really quick. And it would make sense how it got dark. And the whole storyline made sense that at the end you were like, fuck me. They would have a profound experience that was life-changing, life-altering. They would go back to the real world and adjust their lives accordingly, okay? But it took time for that to happen. The hour that they spent in the 70s with the original show, showed they really cared about the product that they had back then. You know, you actually felt for the guests. You actually felt for McConnell, Montalban, and Tattoo, Mr. Rourke, okay, and Tattoo. You felt for them because you knew in a way he was the devil. You knew that this guy was an asshole, but at the same time, he was doing it to shape these people into being better people. Like Saw, with Jigsaw. You know, if you've seen the Saw movies, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm trying to speak to a new generation here about something
Saw's a
that
Loki an
happened
asshole, dude.
30 years ago.
Oh, because I got
you know,
cancer and
it's
my
hard
wife
to
wife died
you know, to you
because
guys
of a fucking
sometimes
door.
about
I'm
this
gonna make
stuff, you know.
people suffer.
So I hope I'm not being rude here. I hope that it doesn't
He's a
sound
fucking
like I'm
asshole. He's a sociopath.
God, there's a lot of shit going on up there. I fucking just ignore that stuff, you know. So, as I'm watching this show,
Lawnmower blade.
connecting the dots from this woman having an eating problem, an eating disorder, how rude she was to the cast, and how rude she was to the guy in particular that gave her the donut, and saying, don't tell me with this shit, like, you know, and she can't deal with it, and blah, 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 and she just bitches him out. So she goes to Fantasy Island with the idea that I'm just going to binge eat, but I don't want to put on weight. The woman's like, now Mrs. Or Ms, I think. No, I think it's Mrs. Montalban takes over, right? Okay, the granddaughter of the original one there. And she goes, well, you can have any fantasy you want. So what do you want? Now, here's the weird thing. She's sitting at a desk with a computer. You're on a fantasy island. Why do you need modern technology? That makes no sense to me. This is supposed to be a resort away from modern society, can't be touched by modern society, and has mystical energy and power around it. And if you really understand the originals, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really need to do a piece on it because I really need to explain to you about the originals. That's why I'm so pissed about this, right? So this island is supposed to have mystical energies. There's no way that Mr. Rourke died. There's just no way. No way in hell, right? He even had a battle with the devil and beat him. There's no way. I don't remember that ever happening. I don't remember him being killed off. They killed him off for this show. So she greets the guests. She has a computer in her office, which makes no sense whatsoever. And because the boat comes flying in and it's a water boat, you know. And so that made sense. But when she greeted the guests, it felt very shallow.
Weird gun, but I like it.
With Mr. Rourke, it felt like there was a presence there, right? The actress that plays this role just feels bland. Very, very bland. Like she's going through the motions like Mr. Rourke did, but not putting enough energy and love into the character to make this an interesting character to watch every day, right? I mean, I watched this and I was just like, at the end of it, so what? You know? So, she lacks the enthusiasm too of saying welcome.
Have you got the Diablo thing?
It's not just something you just say. It's the emphasis on it, what it really is about, right? And we're here to make the ultimate fantasy come true. Now, if you know anything about the originals, you know this: they play it lighthearted, they get dark, really quickly. The guest learns from it and thanks Mr. Rourke at the end. That's the short and sweet of it. Well, that happens here too, but not with the intensity that the originals had. Not with the energy that the originals had, and not with the significance that the originals had. So, I'll tell you the two stories they did this time around. Okay, this is the first time. This is their pilot. So they did one about a woman with an eating disorder. And she starts off in the newsroom, bitches out everybody, including the donut guy. And then she comes to Fantasy Island and she's like, look, I don't want to put on an ounce, I just want to eat. I swear to God that was done on the original Fantasy Island too, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so anyway, she's giving these choices to eat. And then these characters pop into her life, which was her past, surprise, surprise. And we find out she has an eating disorder because of some guy in her past. I think it was her dad. Yeah, it was her dad, you know. And, the acting is just bland for everybody. I mean, I wasn't really pulled into this story where I should have, and I should have cared about the characters, and I should have You know, I remember the originals. I was crying. You know,
Pussy.
I really fell in love with the guests, and they were there for a short time. Like you never saw these people come back. You know, the people you saw week after week was
Of course it's
Mr.
Fleshbound.
Rourke and
It's fucking
Tattoo.
Perry
Every now and
season,
then
innit?
the devil would pop up, and it was the
I
same
just,
guy.
I don't know how to do it.
He
Like,
was out of,
I don't know if
Fortnite or
Goon's
something
here,
like
but if
that.
he could
He was
explain to
older
me
with
how
movies.
fucking Berserker works.
You know, Rodney McDowell. That's it. Rodney McDowell. He was the one that would play the devil, and he was brilliant. And every now and then we'd come to Fantasy Island and have a battle with Mr. Rourke, and we had this annual battle all the time. It was great. It lacked that kind of energy. It lacked the energy of the characters, it lacked the charisma of the characters, and it lacked the energy of the storytelling. Because the storytelling was quick. It's like, okay, look, she has an eating disorder. She comes to the island. We'll put her into a dark moment. I'll give you their idea of a dark moment. And then she'll be magically cured at the end. And the continuity of it, the flow of it, didn't make any sense. It's just like, boom, 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 bland and done. And I was like, okay, so at the end, she's thankful to Mrs. Rourke, right, for providing this service. What the fuck did you learn from it? You know, there was nothing really profound there. Okay, so your dad was an abusive asshole, but they didn't put that energy into it. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't make it believable. I was sitting here, and I swear I spent an hour of my life that I want back because it was that bad.
Time to lose. Yeah, well, I've been losing every round.
Everybody at
Yeah,
work
so.
like shit. And
I just need to
she
get
gets sucked
carried by
into
my
this
teammates.
thing. And then she sees her past, and she sees who she was when she was a kid, like how her dad influenced her. Like, well, I don't want my daughter being a porker, you know. And then she throws the dessert into the trash, right? And then a little bit later on, he's like, well, my daughter, you know, you're putting on weight, you know, you need to slim down, when, like, you know, she was fine the way that she was, right? And then a little bit later on, her mom dies, and then she makes a promise to her mom that she'll make it in TV, right? So she's going to be a journalist. And then she goes on, and she has a nightmare, if you will. This was very, very poorly done. Of him being roasted as, you know, a dinner, right? Now, normally that would be disturbing, but the way it's presented,
Thought
here
Therese
is
would
that
be
it's
playing.
not that disturbing.
He played with me yesterday
It's
with
not
Back
as
for
dark
Blood.
as it sounds. It's nowhere near as close as what it would be like if it was done in the 70s. And then that magically cures her of her.
But I
eating
think
disorder. And she
DSP
thanks
is
Mrs.
playing,
Rourke and
so
goes
he's
home.
busy.
The demon raid breaks.
That's not how it works.
I shoot.
I mean, the idea of it is, right, with Mr. Rourke, right, the way he presents himself and how he's charismatic and how he carries them out is like that. But it's very dark shit that happens, and every now and then he talks to Tattoo throughout the episode, and they discuss certain things that are going on, and you can hear Mr. Rourke's plans. You can hear him strategizing and going, well, you know, Tattoo, this could go both ways now. Tattoo would play the devil's advocate, so to speak, and they would have this conversation back and forth, which would add a lot of intrigue into the story that was happening and would add more to the story and make you go, oh my God, that is deep. And that's the problem here. It's very vanilla. It's not dark. It's not deep. It's a fresh coat of paint, and that's it. You know, think of it like a car accident, where it's a complete write-off, which would be, you know, the old series, because it was epic. So every episode was epic.
Come on, bro. Just kill him already.
Massive train wreck. That was great. I loved it, right? This is like dust touching a car versus the train wreck, right? The train wreck being epic and the dust in the car being like, so why should I care? And that's honestly how I felt about this story. It was very bland, very dull, very uninspiring. I mean, how many times have we heard about little girls having eating disorders? I mean, come on, this is not a new concept. You know what I mean? And there was no originality to it. I mean, you know, her dad was the one that gave her the eating disorder. And then partway through the show, she's like, well, okay, I'm gonna have a nightmare of him roasting over a fire, and he's gonna be my next meal. Because they would come to her and start off with chocolates, you know, and sweets. She'll have a truffle, and then another one would magically appear. Well, I'm fine with that. That's how it starts off, light, you know. But then a cake would appear, and then she would get sucked into the cake because she didn't want it, so she went to punch it, and she'd get sucked into the cake, and then she would see her past, right? And then there was another. Then there was like, okay, well, what do you want next? And then she was like, well, I don't know. It's like, I know. I'll bring in a little bit of everything. Turns out to be her dad roasting over the fire like a pig, you know, being roasted, right?
Sounds pretty lit.
And you didn't really see anything graphic here, not unlike the 70s where it was incredibly graphic. And then she goes back to Mrs. Rourke and she goes, I could have sworn the other night there I had a meal and it ended up being my dad. And then Mrs. Rourke goes, oh, you mean the pig we had last night? Now, the cool thing about the old show, when they did stuff like this, is they would actually show the pig there in real time. And they would show that it was an illusion. Because like this island was mystical, right? It would bring the good and the bad and the ugly into play. And that's the problem here, is that there was no continuity flow to the storyline that made sense, because it's just like, you know, okay, here's the lighthearted thing.
There it is.
Here's the medium, here's the heavy, and then at the end you're going to thank me because you learned something from the experience.
Okay.
No. What I wanted to see here was more like what happened in the 70s, and the best way to relate it to you guys is like any Saw movie. Pick a Saw where Jigsaw is there trying to teach them a lesson so that they can respect their life. And that's what Mr. Rourke did. Mr. Rourke was the asshole, was the devil. He was the guy that you looked charming and nice and friendly at the start, and then later on you really found out his true colors. And then when you found out who he was and what he was doing, what he was up to, but it was up to each individual guest what they brought out, right? They brought it out in themselves, though. But he was still the asshole. He was in charge of the whole island, you know. So she's put into this role of being in charge of the island now, and this is the first person that she does. And that's the first story, and that's how that plays out. And then she thanks her at the end. What for? There was nothing there that I saw that would impact me to go, that was a profound experience. I would be thanking the person, right? I see Saw, and I would be thanking Jigsaw for that because Jigsaw is pretty fucked up. When you compare this to the original, Mr. Rourke, every episode I saw, yes, absolutely. You know, I'd be thanking him because he taught you something, right? Here, it's very vanilla. That's the key thing to stay here, okay? It's very vague. It's very weak, incredibly weak. The characters are weak. The acting is weak. Everything about it is weak. You know, there is no theme music to this, by the way, neither. Remember the original one had its own music in that, where it play over, you know, and that sort of thing. There was no music. And so that's that story. Then there's the other story, which, you know, I could sort of like, you know, get into if it was more better acted. But there's this old couple, and they come to the island, and she greets them. And she's like, welcome to Fantasy Island. Like, it's just a line for her, right? And it's so vanilla, and it's so weak. Where's the welcome to Fantasy Island? You know, the enthusiasm. You know, this is power, right? I'm giving you power. You can have anything you want, right? That energy, right, that Mr. Rourke would do, that Mikado Montalban would do, was just amazing. I mean, his acting is fucking phenomenal. Okay, and I'm not being sexist here. I'm just being honest.
Drinking with your friends.
Right? I'm giving this a chance. You know, this is my review of the first show, and then we'll see what happens next week. You know, but this was a weak performance too. Her performance as being the new owner of Fantasy Island was weak. Welcome to Fantasy Island. It's like really, and she has this accent, right? Welcome to Fantasy Island, like she's Mexican or something, right? And I'm just like,
Mexican.
That was weak. I didn't feel like this presence there that had this power to fulfill my every wish. I mean, every time I saw Ricardo Montalban, I was like, I believe this guy can fucking grant anything I want. I truly do, because he has that presence. He has that voice. Does it make sense? Because it's like, you know,
It's almost like
James
women
Earl
aren't
Jones
intimidating.
doing Darth Vader, and then just the average Joe Blow down the street doing Darth Vader. You're gonna notice a big, massive difference. If you played Star Wars Squadrons, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because that voice acting was shit. Well, that's what the acting is here. The voices, the energy, the enthusiasm, everything about it was just vanilla. It's just, I'm here to do a role, so I'm going to do a role, I'm going to put it out there, and that's it, and people are going to love it. Because I'm a female. Okay? So, and I have no problem with it being a female person. That's not what my issue is. My issue is the core elements of what made the original so awesome not being respected in this very first pilot show of the reboot, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? And so, that bothered me. So again, a weak performance of Welcome
He's talking
to
about
Fantasy
Fantasy Island.
Line. And that's how
It's a new
came
TV
across.
show.
I'm just like,
That's a
that's
reboot from a
lame.
1980s
You know,
TV show.
and now this couple shares a moment with her on the beach. And the husband is like, look, man, this woman has sacrificed everything for me, the kids, and everything like that. I just want her to have a weekend for herself. I was actually touched by this idea. And if it was better acted, I would be really touched by this. This would be one of those where you go, okay, maybe this show's 50-50. You know, and this is what I was thinking at the time. Maybe it's 50-50. That was a weak one. Maybe this one's going to be better, right? The next story's going to be better. And it did have some elements that were better. The woman who is dying of cancer because they're in their 80s, right? You know, the Mrs. Montalban, you know, she goes, look, I can't cure your
Mrs.
cancer.
Montalban.
But again, a weak performance. You know what I mean? Like, physical presence was weak. The voice acting was weak. It was just lines. You know, just lines. Like you and me just saying it, like, you know, with no enthusiasm, right? Just like, well, I can't cure your cancer. Like, there's no enthusiasm there, right? Versus like, well, you know, I really feel it for you as a human being, but I can't cure your cancer, man. I wish I could, you know, and putting something into it that would make me feel that you care about this character.
Well,
this
fuck.
person dying of cancer.
I fucking suck today, don't I? What's
So,
wrong with me?
As this story evolves,
What's wrong with me?
she goes, I know that, but I just want to have a weekend where I can be young again and be able to enjoy life again one last time before I go home and die. Okay, so as this episode plays out, this part of the episode, apparently Mrs. Montalban gets this, or sorry, Mrs. Rourke. I didn't say Montalban. I do apologize. Like, you know, it's Mrs. Rourke. So Mrs. Rourke gets the idea, or Mrs. You know, women and their titles. You know what I mean? Like, I am Ms., Mrs. You know, like Jesus Christ. You know, guys are easy. Sir, Mister. You know, it's easy.
Wow.
So anyway.
Bit of a weird thing
She
to
goes, look,
say, but okay.
I have feelings for this person. Okay, where in this show did you get feelings for her developing all of a sudden? Why, where did these feelings come from? You guys have had little to no interaction at this point in the show. And I was just like, that just blew me away. I was just like, wow, talk about being disconnected from your material. So, as this plays out, she goes off and gets a tattoo. They fool around in bed and you get the idea that they've done it 4 times. And they go off to this beach party where her husband finds out she actually wanted to have a lesbian relationship with this other woman. And then she goes back to bed and goes, hey, look, I know something's wrong because I've known you for 50 years and you're a fake, you're a bad faker, you know. And then they have this moment that's supposed to be an enlightening moment that is, she wanted to be bisexual. And she had a choice between her husband and this woman, right? That's what it's supposed to be about. Okay? And this is like, you know, supposed to impact them both, right? And it's very weak acting. You know, you don't, like, there's a good story there if they would have done it right. You know, again, it was rushed. Again, it's vanilla. Again, it's just weak performances, weak everything. You know, we're just saying our lines. That's it. It honestly felt like you were going for an audition. You thought you were going to fail it, right? That's where the whole thing played out. The whole first episode, right? So, this part of the episode, which is near the end of it, is like, well,
Glad to see you made it through. Make and gear up.
I chose to be with you,
If you
not
break
her.
line of sight with a
And he's like,
goal
yeah,
first,
but now
we
I
get
feel bad
confused
because
and
you
stop
really wanted to be
sprinting.
with her. You love her more than you love me, kind of thing, right?
Sound
Turns
off.
into
How
that.
are we all doing?
And she's like, no, I chose you. That's why I chose you. But it doesn't have the enthusiasm I'm showing here. You see, even I put more enthusiasm into it because I'm doing a review here of it, right? And so it lacked that energy. It lacked the energy of the actors actually portraying it that would make you believe that this was happening at the time. And this was probably the best out of the two stories that they had here, right? At the end, the new Mrs. Rourke takes over and she goes and notices that this woman has an interesting tattoo on her spine, right? That she got the night before at the party, right?
Where have they been?
When they did drugs.
All Z's on the scope. Back to
And they're like, now we
mezzanine.
know why we never did drugs when we were in our 20s, right? So she notices this and she says, there's something very special about you. The island's calling to you.
Proper cooks, mate.
So I'm going to make you an offer. And then she hands her a book with the tattoo and its meaning on the island. And apparently, she's supposed to stay. So she has this conflict of interest between choosing her husband and her kids and going back and dying from cancer the next 2 days, or staying on the island and staying 20-something forever. In the end, she chooses to stay on the island forever, right? And this was very weak too. You know, there was really no impact. And what I'm thinking this sets it up for is, here's the new tattoo, right? We got the culture of the character being a black woman, okay, as the new tattoo, with a white woman being the new Rourke. That really bothers me because then that proves my theory that because it was a white woman taking the place of Mr. Rourke, that it could potentially become a woke movement thing, right? And that's how it ends, that she does accept it, and I'm thinking she's the new tattoo now. So I thought at the beginning it was going to be the pilot, right? Because they have a couple interesting moments, right? But then, as things play out, I understand that it's going to be this black woman. Definitely. 100%.
Stop calling her black.
Sure. I'm going to have to wait for the next episode. But she's already had deep feelings for her. And there was nothing in this show where I felt like it was emotional. It's like in the original ones with Ricardo Montalban in that. Or Ricardo Montalban, sorry, in that. You felt it. You felt his presence. He was very commanding. You could tell his acting was just phenomenal, right? He's very commanding. His voice was very commanding, and his presence was very commanding. And he took his roles seriously. You know, you believe that character was someone who had all this power. You believe this island had all this power, right? And that is completely lacking in this new version of it, right? This reboot, whatever you want to call it. And so that's my concerns, because if you know the originals were very disturbing. And they were incredibly well acted, even by the guests. And the interactions between Rourke and Tattoo were very pivotal, because they would have these sort of moral battles, right? Boss, I think you're wrong. Tattoo, let me explain. You know, and they would have these moments that were just fucking epic. It was just brilliantly done. And every now and then the devil would pop up and try to fuck up Rourke's establishment, right? And what he was doing there. And so you felt like this island had energy. You felt the presence of Rourke, and you felt the presence of Tattoo, and it all came together, and the chemistry was there, and everything was just right, you know, and it was perfect. Every episode was just amazing. I never found one episode boring at all. I was always intrigued by the island. I was intrigued. How did they get this power? What is the island? What is it about? You know, who is Rourke? What is he? And you find out as it plays out. And the devil plays a really important role in all this. You know, like really, really important, that you don't know until way later on.
Way later on.
As the series progresses. And yes, the series, because like, you know, X amount of seasons in, they bring in the devil, or X, you know what I mean? You know, it takes a while for you to develop certain characters. The problem here,
Character development, baby.
It lacks the enthusiasm, and it lacks the charisma and presence and vocal commands even that the original had that this one doesn't. It's not, I'm taking the route of being sexist because it's a female. Though that woke movement is here. She does take over, it is her, and in the end, she convinces this black woman to stay with her on the island. Which really makes me think that's the new tattoo. You know, because now she's bound to the island, right? If she leaves the island, she's dead. And so, it does feel like a woke thing to me. It feels like that, in the end, they took this white female, put her in this position, was a very poor actress. All the acting in this sucked. So the men, women, everybody sucked in it. I'm being unisex here.
Fuck. I am sucking today.
She takes on another black female. So where are the men in all this? Okay, you have a couple here who are dealing with cancer, and the guy gives up everything so that the woman can go off and do her thing, and then she becomes the new tattoo. And then you have the male pilot coming in at the beginning, and it looks like they have some chemistry there between Mrs. Rourke and him, and then it turns out to be nothing because she's really invested in this chick, in this black woman. And it never explains any of this properly. That's the problem here. The scripting is terrible. The acting is, everything about it is terrible. I'm not trying to be negative. I can show you the whole show right here. I still got it on my PVR. You know, it was bad. You know, the acting was
What was it called again? Fantasy Island.
Bland. It was vanilla. The storytelling was bland and vanilla. Like, I mean, shit, this is boring.
It's a Fox TV
You know,
show. Like, what do you expect, dude?
Boring. There was no command of presence. There was no, like, I believe this island has mystical powers. It's just like, okay, I say it is, so it is, right? There's a lot of problems with this. A lot of issues with it. Where I was bored. I actually laid down on the couch watching it, you know, and I'm just like, what's there to be interested in? What's there to be invested in? And then they showed the next week what's coming up. And it shows the couple switching sexes. You know, like a man going into a woman's body, a woman going into a man's body. Where have we seen this before?
Freaky Friday, bitch.
We've seen this in, what? Not Mrs. Doubtfire, but shit. It was like, it was one of those movies, like, you know, with the comedian in there, like Robin Williams or something like that. What the hell was the name of that movie? You know, where they switch sexes, you know, the male becomes the female becomes the male. That's what's coming up next week. And I'm like, you guys have no original storytelling. That's another problem. Because those two episodes that happened there...
It makes it sound like a CW show, yeah.
Way better by Ricardo Montalban and company, right? And now we get in this movie that was done in the 90s or 2000s, you know, whenever that one came out. I forget the name of it, so if you guys remember, put it down below. And that's what it's turned into now. So now the next show is going to be about this couple switching bodies. Hey, I'm you. Hey, you're me. You know. And that's what they showed coming up next week, right? And I'm like, how's that interesting? You know, the acting is bad. It's really, really bad. And what I remember of the 70s, it was amazing. It really was, you know.
Or maybe in the 70s you were a kid and you thought it was amazing.
Because they were that fucking good. So I'm going by memory here, you know. And that's why the movie was no good. I heard the movie was bad. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't judge it. But I've heard it's really bad too. Well, this is, you know, in my opinion, would probably be worse than the movie, you know. But there's no energy. None. There's no enthusiasm. There's no presence of character and command. Like, I'm someone powerful. You know, I'm not to be trifled with. You know, take my warning seriously. That's what Ricardo Montalban brought to the role as Mr. Rourke. And that's what's missing here as Mrs. Rourke. The woman that plays this role sucks. And then she takes on a black female at the end of it, right? And you can see where the correlation is there between Tattoo and Mr. Rourke. It's true. And so, that's my concerns, because you're watching the next episode, we're going to find out about that. But she has this deep bond to her. She's like, why care about this person? Why should you? There was nothing there to present itself that you should. See, in the 70s, in that version, the original,
Now finish the
everybody
job.
who acted the roles, including the guests, were believable. I believed that everything was going on that island, but the most important pivotal roles to sell the show was Mr. Rourke and Tattoo. And they nailed it right from the get-go. And eventually they brought in the devil, and he did a fantastic job. That actor,
We've heard about this
I don't know
fucking
his name,
devil
I
already.
once, you know.
5 times.
And it was phenomenal.
Fucking
It
repeating
was
ass
really, really good.
bitch.
And the guests just added to it because the guests had to sell it. But they were only there for one show. They always had new people on all the time, right? They never repeated
Think
people
Miami
because they
Vice.
didn't want people to catch on or recycle them or whatever, you know. So that's how I feel about the first show of this, is that I do feel that it's a woke reboot of Fantasy Island. I don't think it's going to last long, you know. I saw the first one, I wasn't impressed with it. It's things I've seen before in the originals and done way more better. And now they're doing this whole, we're going to switch bodies. And I remember that being done in one of those movies, like, I don't know, 40 something, or I'm trying to remember the name of the movie there. I can't remember it. It's not Tootsie, it's not
Tootsie.
Mrs. Doubtfire or anything like that, but it was done by popular comedians, you know. And it was actually really, really funny, and it was really, really well done. And this doesn't look anywhere near as good as that. And that was like, you know, the sneak peek for the preview for the next one coming up, right? I'm like, I don't know, man. So I'm gonna give it a couple of shows here.
Fuck, my
See
shoulder.
what happens. You know, give it 2 or 3 shows and see what happens. So this is the first one, and then we'll go on to the second one. You know, so I'll call this episode 1, and then we'll do the
Glad to see
second
you
one.
made it through.
That comes next Tuesday, so this is Wednesday, you know. But yeah, this is how I feel about it. I didn't like it.
You were up
I
and
wasn't
down
into
out
it. If
there.
you've seen it, let me know what
Good
you
thing
thought
got
about it.
some excellent healing.
If you haven't seen it, let me know if you're gonna watch it. But for me, it was a waste of an hour, you know.
I suggest you
And
go check
Waste of an
I
hour.
just
Gonna
didn't
watch it
feel
again
the
next
presence
week.
like I did in the originals. I didn't feel the darkness. I didn't feel the despair and the urgency in that. And I didn't feel that they learned anything from their experience, because there was really nothing had there to experience.
Come on, you bastard.
It was sort of like,
Take on the world.
this is what they did in the originals, so we'll do the same thing, but we'll do it very vanilla, very bland, very basic, and very boring. And then at the end, everyone's going to thank me for their experience. And they did do that, and yeah, it's not bland and boring.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm about to
I
shut the
can't
pod.
recommend this right now. I'm going to wait and see what the second one is like, but it looks like that black woman is going to be the new Tattoo. This is like Masters of the Universe, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Revelation,
Nothing wrong with a black
if you
woman
want to
being
relate it
the
to
next
something
Tattoo?
current, right? Where they make Tila He-Man.
Ammo check,
Well,
folks.
the white woman becomes the new
It's a new
Rourke,
age. Get with the
right, on
program.
island. And then replacing Tattoo
Reloading.
with a black female.
Needs an airstrike when you can.
And that would be like Tila replacing He-Man, and then her girlfriend comes in, that black woman, you know, Ayla, whatever her name is there, in He-Man Masters of the Universe Revelation, right? The one by Kevin Smith there. That black woman comes in and she's gay and they're together as a couple. That's exactly what they're doing here. And so if you upchucked about that and you thought that was disrespectful to the He-Man universe, that's how they're disrespecting the Fantasy Island franchise, the way it was in the originals, right? I'm not doing here to be sexist. I'm not doing here to bring in different cultures and ethnicities and that. I'm just speaking my mind and speaking the truth. You know, they took old shows and put them here. I mean, it's already been done. The whole, you're fat thingy, right? You have an eating disorder. You're dying of cancer, right? And now the next one coming out with body swapping. This has all been done before in movies and TV shows. It lacks originality. That's another problem with it, right? So there's a lot of problems here, as you can tell. So yeah, it gets an epic thumbs down for me. There's just nothing there, you know. There's no substance there. There's nothing really there for them to, for you to be pulled into this universe to believe that this is really going on in the moment at the time, right? And that's the thing that really bothered me. It's just sort of like going through the motions. That's it. Going through the motions, right? That's all they were doing. They're actors and actresses going through the motions, and everybody was equally bad here. The men, the women, everybody was. It's terrible. The acting is that bad. You know, you need to have an awesome script, and because TV is so short, you know, an hour-long show really is only 40 minutes, right? And then you got credits in that too, right? So somewhere between 40 to 44 minutes, right, in length is a real TV show. You gotta make it incredibly impactful. You gotta have brilliant acting. You gotta have brilliant script writing. Everything has to be brilliant, or else it just doesn't work because you only got an hour to work with. And within that hour, you only got 40 minutes of really good, solid material you need to work with. So you need actors that have that kind of presence on stage. Actors being unison. You need the chemistry of the characters. You need the scripting. The writing of it has got to be phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
You know, and none of that was present here at all. Whereas in the
Fuck you up,
originals it was,
bitches.
right? And I'm just going to leave it at that because I
Hustle
don't want to sound
made
like a witch hunting,
everything,
but it's true.
bitches.
So that's everything I feel about this. As a fan of the original, I wasn't impressed. I will watch the next one, and if it turns into another He-Man,
I don't think I've ever
kind of thing,
succeeded
I'm
in
not
Nightmare.
gonna be watching anymore. I mean, based off of this one,
Doing all right,
it was
but
really, you know, there's nothing really.
how do you say
there.
this?
You know, they had some interesting
I ain't got
things,
enough ammo,
like
man.
you know, like an eating disorder, but we've seen that before. And you know, the woman dying of cancer, and then she ends up being the one that's left on the island, and the guy goes back as an old man, and dies in a few days, right? They're old, right? And so I'm just like, why should I care? You know, like really. And then they show, while the credits are rolling, what's coming up next week, which is going to be the body swap. You know, well, I'm you, you're me. Oh, what the hell? You know, been done before. And a lot better. Way a lot better. You know, so yeah. That's everything I have to say about it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Laters. There's blind as a bat here. How do I make this stream interesting? I don't think I can. Like, I can talk, but there's not much to talk about in this game. And like, oh look, I'm shooting this fucking quarter pound now. Oh no, the quarter pound is staggered. Oh no, the quarter pound has me. I'm switching to my SWAT. Or my Mac 10, I mean. And then he got me cornered, and I might die in a bit. Lost all my armor, oh no. And I'm dead by flesh pound. It's KF2. Yeah, there's not much to talk about. Low-key regret saying I'm gonna do all of them. But it is what it is. Fucking bastard. My shoulder hurts all of a sudden. And it's fucking with my arm. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's fucking watch that one. That might fucking put some jazz in me. To be fair, I haven't seen Goon play KF2 in a while. It's been a while. You played Splitgate yet? No, is that a new thing?
Bang on target.
I've been playing Demon Souls. That's all I've been playing, to be honest. Ugh. Best free-to-play arena shooter right now. Huh. I'll have to have a look at it. I played Back 4 Blood. It's not gonna make it. It's gonna be dead in half year, I would say. I wouldn't say dead on release because it is fun enough. But with the price tag and the DLC shit, it's gonna be dead in like a year, half year. And just it has no new thing to it. It's a Game Pass game, dude.
Get to the indicated pod for resupply.
To be fair, I enjoyed it, but
My advice: don't die again.
it seems like
That one's on the house.
I wouldn't say the difficulty's too hard because it's not. But the more acts you go in, the less
You earn the money.
well, the harder it gets, obviously. But
Bloody alive. Let's keep it.
it
Weapon here, if anyone
it
wants.
basically
Stay sharp. They'll be honest
makes
with
it
you.
so that you can't progress if you have bots. Because I had a thing yesterday, and there was like two just normal players, right? And then 2 bots, and we just died. Like, we legit just died, and I pour all my ammo into the fuckers. I was doing good,
Hurry up. Zeds are
but
getting closer.
nope, not happening. Right, is masturbation safe? Requested video.
Hi guys, I just got done doing a video.
The zombie said
on
he did the
a
Frogger
troll
word when you
comment
played?
and my
No.
reaction to it and my
No Frogger word.
in real time. Okay. Now, I was just looking at my feet and I'm like, oh my god, they're yellow because I just banged my toe. Fucking hurt like the dickens, right? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I hope I didn't break it or spring it or something. And then I realized how much I'm neglecting my feet. Why is it that martial artists never take care of their feet? I don't know how long it's been since I washed my feet. I can't even remember because, like, you know, I do showers, right? Well, actually, I do sponge baths, to be honest with you, right? And so, I probably haven't watched them in decades, man, because holy shit, they're ugly looking. I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Do I have creatures growing out of my feet? Like, what the fuck, dude? They're like yellow and...
I fucking hate this game.
They look gross. Like, yeah. Not trying to gross you out or anything, but if I did, cool! Anyway, I thought we'd get into a comment here that I got that unfortunately I can't get back to in the comment section. So I thought I would
This
put
game
it up
sucks.
here,
It's horrible.
in real time on the PlayStation here. I'm still on YouTube. Like I just got done doing that video on my reaction to the trolls, right? Here, this person gets back to me and asks me to do a thing on masturbation. Is it safe or not? So, this is all going to be off the top of my head. I do have certification and license. I'm a licensed medic in the armed forces. Well, was in the armed forces. I did the armed forces back in
I don't think
the
medics in the armed forces
I did
have
it
to
for
know about
4 years, but
masturbation.
I still have my license, you know. I have 3 certificates in the fitness industry. Recreational management, level 2 coaching for long distance runners, and fitness instructor and evaluator. Okay, and more recently in 2020 I graduated with my master's in psychology, so I'm a fairly well-rounded educated person, you know, who has put it into practice, okay? So this one is
I might as well not be here.
Gilberto Silva, and hopefully I got your name right, bro. Sorry, I hope you have a sense of humor then if I didn't pronounce it right. And said, hey, I see you're doing videos of requests. Can you do one about masturbation? Is it safe or not? Okay, so that's going to be today's topic. Is masturbation healthy for you? Okay, so before I get started into this, do understand I come from a place of knowledge, but doctors are better than I am. And the best person to go to is a urologist, okay? And I will explain my stories here that I have to share with you and things like that. And things that I know about like edge play. We will cover edge play, we will cover urinary tract infections, we'll cover retention and things
Oh, this is
like
gonna
that.
be a wonderful
I
video.
want to address one thing that I see kicking around here on the internet a lot, especially on YouTube, is these women in particular coming out and calling themselves sex experts. The only real sex expert that I strongly recommend everybody talk to is a urologist. They know their shit. And I found this out the hard way because back in the 90s, I had developed this toxicity level because of semen retention of all things. I had developed a urinary tract infection. I had developed severe toxicity in my body because of it. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about my personal
You know what that
experiences.
means? He
And I'm
didn't
gonna
wash
talk
his
about why
fucking
egg
dick.
play is dangerous for you. I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. Now, all this is off the top of my head. Okay?
Semen interaction.
And
That means you
I
fucking
encourage
didn't
you
wash
to
your
talk
shit,
to a
mate.
urologist. Don't talk to someone who claims to be a sex expert. There's no such thing.
Port's closed.
Don't
Call me
talk
a
to someone
difference.
like Dr. Ruth Ressheimer.
Who?
They're not a sex expert. The real
Oh,
true
good. It's an
sex
easy one.
experts, I know this 100%, 100%, is a urologist. They know everything inside and out about male and female anatomy when it comes to the sex organs and it comes to, well, anything to do with the urinary tract, right, which is your sexuality, right, okay? So we're going to get into this.
Isn't a urinary tract just where you pee?
From my own personal experiences, things I've learned the hard way, the right way, and as to whether or not I believe that this is healthy or not. And I'm going to put my bias aside because I was raised hardcore Catholic, which was a 70s way of thinking, which was very dogmatic, and to me a long
Masturbation
time
is
ago,
good for you, man.
you know, which is why I call it a cult. So we're going
Helps
to
with the ye
address
old
this.
prostate.
Is
Just don't do it too
masturbation
much,
safe or
'cause
not? This is a loaded question.
you'll get
and you
addicted.
don't know it, but it is. Because there's a lot of moving parts to this. Like I said, this involves urology. It involves a lot of different things. I'm just going to click off of that now so I don't burn out my PlayStation here, you know. And so,
Burn out.
thank you for the request. I do appreciate it. I do take requests, so feel free to. You don't have to stay on topic, guys, with my videos. So if you don't feel like it, then don't. Like, you know, bring up something else you want to talk about. Hey, let's talk, you know. So, these are my thoughts, my opinions. I'm an educated person. I do have knowledge in this to a certain extent, but I am no ways a specialist. I will never claim to be. I was in
Well, at least I've
military
done Nightmare
forces.
once.
I have 3
That was hard as shit.
certifications in the fitness industry, so I did those 2 as well. And recently graduated with my master's in psychology in 2020, right? So, that being said, let's get into this, okay? So, first off, never take advice from women, okay? They'll give you the
Fucking
worst
hell.
advice ever. Women talk about you suck in the bedroom, right? And we're just going to get into this. We're going to get into the hard shit right away, too. You suck in the bedroom, okay? Premature ejaculation. Whoa, hang on a sec here, women. You're stressing men out for no reason. Let me explain to you about ejaculation when it comes to men. And this is the truth.
Let's do
and
it.
this is biologically the truth. This is the way Mother Nature programmed us. You guys ever watch that movie Colors with Sean Penn and Robert Duvall? And Sean Penn is like, I'm going to run down the hill and fuck that bitch, right? And they're using this as a metaphor with the cows down there, right? Talking about women, right? You know. And then Robert Duvall goes, well, you could do that. Or what you could do is walk down the hill slowly and fuck them all. You see, guys are hardwired with an extremely high sex drive of being extremely sensitive about the penis. I'm just going to say what it is. Your cock, your dick, your penis, whatever, okay?
Your cock,
And
your dick, your
that's
penis.
by design. Mother Nature made us that way because we are animals. And when you look at the animal kingdom, we were meant to go down there and fuck everybody and make them all pregnant. That's our job. And we can't do that if our sex organs don't have that sensitivity that they have. Some people will say oversensitive, hypersensitive, no such thing. Okay, you're sensitive because you need to be like that. All the nerves need to feel like they're on the outside because that's how you're going to make a chick pregnant because you're going to ejaculate into her. Okay, the woman ovulates, the guy ejaculates into her when she's
Imagine
ovulating and she's
ejaculating
pregnant,
into
okay?
a female. Not
It
me.
was never about sexual satisfaction and gratification. Okay, it never was. That's a man-made complex, right? Okay, it's a man-made construct. That's it. It's a construct that's made by man. Okay, Mother Nature made us by design. When you look at Mother Nature, okay, Mother Nature has a season for everything, right? There's a time to mate, time to die, time to eat, all that kind of stuff. It's like the Forrest Gump movie, right? But that is very true. When you look at Mother Nature, you know spring's hit because, yeah, they're out fucking, okay? You know that, you know what I mean? There's a season for everything, right? And in nature, it makes sense, right? this is the mating season, okay, for these animals, right? Human beings are the same. And we tend to think that we're different than animals out there because we put laws into place, right? But we're not. We are still animals, and we need to respect this side of us that is the animal, right? I'm not saying go out and rape people and shit because that's bullshit. You don't do that. But what I'm saying is you
Well,
can't
if we're
deny
animals, why
who
not?
you are at the core, which is an animal. And as a male, we're meant to protect the female. We're meant to hunt and bring shit home. And we're meant to fuck. You know, plain and simple.
Fuck!
Well, I'm a virgin, so you can imagine, like, you know, how interesting this is going to be because I'm throwing my prejudice aside here. I'm throwing everything aside here, and I'm being just completely honest with you, right? Completely transparent. My religious background, all that shit, I'm putting all that stuff aside, okay? So we're meant to, biologically, that's what we're meant to by design, is to walk down the hill and fuck them all. Because we can have orgasm after orgasm after orgasm after orgasm, right?
No, we can't.
So, women get pissed off at men and say, they come up with a construct of premature ejaculation. This is never a thing. You ejaculate when you're meant to ejaculate, and I learned this from a urologist, by the way, because that's by design. If you don't, and you retain that, and you do edge play and shit like that, that's very dangerous, and I'll get into that later in the video. I don't want to be all over the place, which I normally am, so I do apologize if I do that too in this video. It's all off the top of my head. But by design, we're meant to go down the hill and fuck them all and make them all pregnant. That's who we are. We're not meant to be monogamous. We're meant to go out there and just fuck them all and make them pregnant. That's the truth. That's a bare bones truth. Don't rage on me. And go out there and get educated and learn for yourself. If you don't believe me,
Go out there and get educated about raping.
Don't side with people that agree with you. Do both sides of the fence, right? That's constructive. That's how you really learn. You know, it's easy to get along with someone that you can side with, but it's hard to get along with someone that doesn't agree with you. That's where you really need to work on things because you need to listen to both sides. So, as a male, I know for myself what really does work. And as a male that's educated about, you know, sex and that, I mean, I took sex ed back in the day. I've done biology. I mean, heck, I was a medic in the armed forces. It doesn't get any deeper than that. But the experts, the real experts, are the ones that are urologists, okay? If they're Dr. Ruth Westheimer, they're not a sex expert, okay? If they're some chick on the internet saying I'm a sex expert, no, they're not. Even if they're a male saying that they're a sex expert, no, they're not. Only a urologist is a sex expert. That's the truth. Trust me, I learned this the hard way too. I didn't think about urology as being sex experts, but they are. They know it better than anybody else. They know male and female anatomy better than anyone, okay? So,
You did.
things I've learned. Okay, so, one, we're animals. We're meant to go down the hill and fuck them all, okay? This is why we're sensitive with our equipment, is because the penis is really sensitive, because it has to be, the nerves have to be on the outside in order for us to ejaculate, right? We're not going to ejaculate, which means the woman's not going to get pregnant. The woman needs to do her cycle, and when she's ovulating, that's when she's ready to get pregnant. And when she's at the height of it was when she's the horniest, and that's so that she can get pregnant. None of it was ever meant to, and I'm talking scientifically here, okay, before we get into the rest of it, none of it was ever meant for personal gratification. It was just meant to appropriate the species. I still strongly believe in that to this day. Just putting my bias in here for a second, I do strongly believe that that is. Because that's the way nature is, right? Appropriation, right? There's a season for it.
Well, you
This is
feel
when you do it.
that's
This is
Mother
when they
Nature
get
then,
pregnant.
Panic Man.
That's the same thing here, okay? So,
You're just dragging this out.
I see videos pop up on YouTube. I see more and more conversations happening about things like edge play, retention, premature ejaculation. Okay, so let's address these one at a time. No such thing as premature ejaculation. You have to ejaculate when you have to ejaculate, let go. Don't hold back. It's very dangerous. I'm going to tell you why. Holding back, when you look at the male anatomy, and the female anatomy is the same, but their urethra is smaller than ours, okay? when you look at the male anatomy, we have two tubes going into the main one, which goes up the penis, right? And only one of those can happen at a time, and it blocks off the other one from happening, okay? So think of it like breathing and swallowing. You can't do them both at the same time, but sometimes we do fuck up. The flap doesn't work properly, and we choke, right? This is true. This is how you choke, because you're trying to breathe and swallow at the same time. It can happen. Well, the same thing can happen with your penis, okay? I'm going to talk about male anatomy here.
Big
okay?
penis.
So,
Small penis. Tiny penis.
when you edge play, okay, when you get buildup, and it's coming from your prostate, it's coming from, like, you know, your sex organs, and it's building up into an ejaculation. If you retain that, if you edge play, if you keep that from ejaculating, this increases your blood pressure, which is never healthy for you. It could cause a heart attack, it could cause a stroke, could cause blood vessels to break, which is strokes, right? Okay, which is heart attacks. You could, you know, cause a blood vessel. You could have an aneurysm you don't know about, and then you pop a blood vessel there. That's never ever good, right? So your blood pressure going up like that is not healthy, right? But then it also delays the dopamine response, which is a chemical in the brain that is healthy for you. But it can be abused, okay? And we'll talk about that later. So there's two things going on here. The thing to pay attention to that's really, really important is that if you're edge playing, this is dangerous because you're preventing the dopamine from releasing, and you're keeping it on the edge there, and you're getting this high, and it never releases properly, and you're mind fucking yourself. You are literally fucking with the chemistry of the brain, which really confuses it and goes, when should I be releasing here? When should I be kicking in the dopamine? When should I, you know what I mean? I'm keeping this generalized here, because if I get into the specifics of it, it could get really, really complicated really easily, in which case I'm going to need charts, graphs, and all that shit. So this is all off the top of my head, okay? So that's dangerous because of that, but then there's another danger here. And this is something I found out the hard way. You don't want to find this out the hard way, okay? So the other thing is that through retention, what happens is that, okay, you're about to ejaculate, right? Well, you get to the edge, as people talk about, right? But then guess what? It comes back down, right? However, just like when we breathe and swallow, it could come down the wrong tube. And if it comes down the wrong tube, you got some serious issues. The least of which is a urinary infection. Trust me, I found this out the hard way. Before edge play was a thing, I wasn't edge playing. I was actually going to a doctor's appointment. I felt like I was going to have an orgasm in my pants because I was excited, and instead of allowing it to happen, I prevented it from happening. It backed up into me, and it caused a lot of problems for me. I got a urinary tract infection, and I ended up with severe toxology, which is not healthy, okay? And it took a urologist to explain this to me. This is why they're the sex experts, okay? Not me, not anybody else. Urologists are the sex experts. They're the ones you really need to talk to. And I'll tell you my story, okay? So that's how I found out about that. The urologist told me about this, right? This thing and how it can happen. But to make things even more interesting, how I got the toxology was, okay, the urinary tract infection I got because it backed up into the urinary system, and it's fluid that's not supposed to be in there, okay? That's urine, which backs up into your bladder, which causes bladder infections. Like, oh my God, you have a lot of serious health issues. And I did, okay? The other side of the fence is if it goes right back into where it came from, this can develop into toxicity that forms like an acid that eats away at all the other healthy sperm, right? So it's healthy to ejaculate every now and then, okay? It's important to ejaculate every now and then because this happens through erotic dreams, perfectly normal. Happens when you get excited, perfectly normal. Don't let other people tell you different. I see a lot of men bashing out there and girls making fun of guys, and there's nothing funny about it. This is your health. I did a video on men's health. Please go watch it, okay? You'll learn a lot right there. I talk about this stuff, okay? And the thing is that when this does happen, it can back up into the wrong tube and cause a lot of bladder infections and urinary infections and things like that.
This is a lovely
But it can
conversation.
also back up into your semen and kill off your sperm and lower your sperm count and create this toxicity. I had both of these things happen to me. I ended up at a urologist, and the urologist says, okay, well, here's how we're going to treat the one which he put me on Cipro, you know. Just so you know, I was put on a medication for a urinary infection, for a bladder infection, okay? And then on top of it, he milked my prostate. Now, you guys hear about milking the prostate, right? Oh, it sounds glamorous, right? No. Fucking painful as hell. My urologist, who is a sex expert, because that is their specialty, all about the urinary system, okay, all about the sex organs, okay? And he told me, I'm going to warn you, my buddy and I have a contest. Who we can make the patient scream the loudest. He said,
What?
We're going to have to milk your prostate. You're not going to like this. In order to prevent this, this is what you need to do. Well, I'm sharing that with you today. So he went to milk my prostate, and oh my fucking god, there's a reason why I don't allow my doctor up there, you know. And this is the first time it's ever happened, the only time it's ever happened, and I ain't ever doing that shit again. But it's important to men's health to do it if you don't ejaculate on a regular basis. Because what you're doing when you ejaculate is you're getting rid of all the old stuff to make room for the new stuff. Think about it like women. Women have a cycle, right, where the egg drops, they ovulate, which is their peak at getting pregnant. Eventually, the egg disintegrates, which is their period, and they get rid of it, right, through fluids. And I feel sorry for them because that's got to be... I'd be a bitch if I was bleeding that much, okay? Men are the same way. We need to ejaculate on a regular basis to replace the old with the new, so that we are always at our prime for making someone pregnant. You know, and so if we hold that back and we hold that in, we're holding in something that's unhealthy for us. You know, and that's what edge play does, right? Like, edge play is dangerous. Like, you know, this is what retention is, right? It's not healther for you.
What is it? It's
now,
dangerous.
There's some other things here to address. The dopamine release. And another thing I was going to say here, I just forgot. So let's talk about the dopamine release. Okay. When you edge play, you're preventing yourself from having the proper dopamine release. You know, you masturbate, okay, for example, and you orgasm, and you don't edge play, you let it happen naturally. You feel the build up, you let it happen, just go with it. It's amazing. You get the proper chemical release that you need. You're not mind fucking yourself, and you feel better overall. Okay? The tension is gone. The release is gone. Lowers your blood pressure. You feel better about yourself. You're more healthier. You just got rid of all that old stuff to be replaced by new stuff, right? It takes about 24 hours to replace.
Yeah.
Okay. You can have
This is an interesting
but this is why we
thing.
have erotic dreams too, is because of that, because the body needs to release it. It knows this, so it makes that up.
Fucking milky your prostate.
15 to 20 minutes, which is your deepest part of sleep. And that's perfectly normal too. We used to call them wet dreams. Now you guys call them erotic dreams. Okay, but it is what it is. It's the same thing. The thing here is that it's important to have proper release because of the dopamine. Because this is where you get into mind fucking yourself, right? And if you mind fuck yourself and the dopamine, and it gets confused, when should I go or not? This is not good for you. Not healthy for you at all. Now, there's something else I said that's really, really important. I wish I could remember it because this is extremely important to your health too. Edge playing? I think we covered that. Anyway, so the thing here, guys. Oh, and premature ejaculation. Okay, there's no such thing as premature ejaculation. Edge play.
You're a proper cook,
is
mate.
Just because you're preventing yourself from an orgasm. So you're mind fucking yourself, right? You're not allowing yourself the dopamine release, and you're screwing up. Now, is masturbation healthy? Yes. Is pornography healthy? Yes. I'm going to say this right now, okay? Because I didn't say it earlier in the video, and this is extremely important. Everything in life in moderation, and that's the key term, moderation. Learn what moderation is healthy.
Says
for
the
you.
guy who watched like
But
6
anything
Terratating
in
videos
excess,
in
no
one
matter
day.
how good it is unhealthy for you. It's like a muscle, right? Take a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it doesn't get stronger, it gets weaker, right? But if you exercise it too much, it doesn't retain the information that you gave it, and it loses it. And that is unhealthy for you too. But if you exercise it properly, with the right amount of time and energy put into it, it gets stronger and stronger every day. So you can overdo it and you can underdo it. The key here is moderation, where you just do it where it's healthy for you. See, I used to train in marathons and ultra marathons for the Olympics, right? Back in the 80s. And I was doing this since I was a kid. I would run 30 miles a day, okay? And I would do track work and everything else. I never had a social life or anything like that. That's not moderation. That's not healthy for you. It destroyed my social life. It destroyed everything. All for me to go to the Olympics, right? And then I learned what moderation was. I became more healthier that way. I took up karate and other things and that. But you work out an hour a day, okay? Tops. That's it. Everything you do basically is an hour a day. Read a book an hour a day, play guitar an hour a day, whatever instrument you got, whatever. Do it an hour a day. And I'm not saying jerk off an hour a day, but you get what I'm saying here, right? Moderation. Now, how many times a day, a week, a month should you do? This varies from person to person. I know some cultures out there, some people masturbate 5 or 6 times a day. I'm not going to say if this is right or wrong, because that's what a urologist is for, right? I'm just going to say that, in my honest opinion, 3 times a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing, sounds about right. You know, because you remember it takes 24 hours to replenish it, right? We need to have this release, because if we don't, we're going to get this thing happening fuck. Urologist, where not only did it back up into my urinary system, but it backed up into my reproductive system and caused this toxology to happen. Now, I don't know the name for it. I don't. I'm not a urologist, right? But it did happen to me. It was fucking painful as hell, and I had to be milked. Literally. Milking is not fun. That's another thing I want to cover, right? You guys talk about milking, and I think that's where I was going with the next part of it. So I'm glad I remember. You guys talk about milking. Milking is not fun. Women will talk about this too. You know, and they stick their finger up your ass at the point of ejaculation. You think it's fun, but it's not. True milking is massaging the prostate to the point where there's no ejaculation whatsoever. Like there's nothing there. There's no cum, whatever you want to call it. You know, there's nothing left in the prostate at all, and that is extremely painful. Trust me, I've had it done once, only once. I learned my lesson. I listened to my urologist, and that's the person you should listen to. And yeah, you gotta do this on a regular basis, which is why masturbation is healthy, because you're doing it on a regular basis. Now, if it turns into an obsession, if you do this too much, it is unhealthy. There's different cultures that do things different ways. So I'm speaking as a straight North American male.
Fucker. My arm
told by
hurts
urologist,
really badly.
this is how it works. And so like 2 to 3 times a week is normal, right? Edge play is not normal. Holding back is not normal. There is no such thing as premature ejaculation, because you're meant to ejaculate when you ejaculate. There is no you suck in bed. No, because that's by design. You are supposed to come quick. You know, the woman's horny, she's ovulating, you need to get it in there and get it out and get off as quickly as possible to make her pregnant. It's just that simple, and then you move on to the next bitch. I'm not being disrespectful here. It's the truth. This is how we are by design. Men and women are different. Women have babies, men go out there and make everyone pregnant. That's the truth. Don't like it, don't lynch me. Go out there and get educated and find out for yourselves. I'm telling the truth. So, that's it right there, guys. Don't do edge play. Don't buy into the bullshit that there's a thing called premature ejaculation. Don't listen to women about men's sexuality. They're the worst, because they don't know what it's like to be a male. And when you go to a urologist, make sure you book the one of your sex, because men don't know women and women don't know men. That's just a fact, okay? And the one that can relate to you the most is the one of the same sex. So if you're a male, go to a male urologist. If you're a female, go to a female urologist because they're different. They are the real sex experts, not this bullshit you see on TV, not the shit you see on YouTube. They are not sex experts. They claim to be, but they're not. And they will talk about, premature ejaculation. That's not a thing. Seriously. They will talk about edge play. That's not a thing. Seriously, don't do it. That's dangerous. It's incredibly unhealthy. You're putting acid back into your system. You're taking this, you're preventing yourself from the dopamine release, and then at the same time, you're allowing this semen to roll back from where it came from. Think about this for a second. Anything in your body, upper esophageal reflex, right, is what?
Pretty sure
Us regurgitating food in
doing
our
it
stomach,
doesn't
right?
really
And it
matter
goes
though.
back
Like, I don't
down.
even
Is
know
it
how
healthy?
he got
No.
that
What is that? Acid reflux.
urinary
What does
infection
acid
by
reflux do?
stopping an
Destroys
orgasm.
the
Like, what the
esophagus.
like,
Not healthy. I've never heard of anything.
pretty sure
going up
loads
and
of people
coming
do it
back
and never
down
have
being
problems with it.
healthy. That's why I'm using the esophagus as an example, right? This causes a burning sensation in the throat. Upper esophageal reflux is what it's called. It's acid reflux, okay? And it goes up and comes back down. This is stomach acid. It's not healthy for you. It burns and damages and destroys your esophagus permanently. That's what you're doing with the rest of your body, okay? So when you look at the male anatomy, okay, we have two tubes that lead into one. We have the one where the ejaculate comes from, and we have the one where the urine comes from. Now, when you do edge play, you're building up the ejaculate, but then you're allowing it to come
it
back
gets
down.
strapped and goes
Like I
back
said
in the
with
body. It's
esophagus,
supposed to be one way.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of anything coming back down being a good thing, ever, with anything to do with the human body.
I'm pretty
It is
sure,
going
like,
in one direction. It's meant to go in
unless
one
you
direction,
push it
and
back
goes
in or
all
some
the way
shit.
in that direction,
Your armor like that.
or else you're going to have health issues. And in this case, because
just make
it
sure you
doesn't come
clean
all the
your
way out
dick.
when you vomit,
Alright?
it goes back
the-
into your
The best
get back
advice
down
I
the
can
throat.
give you.
You get this burning sensation, and it just
It
goes
sounds
your
to me like
esophagus.
he just had, like
Your whole body is like
he says he had
it's meant to
an
go one
almost
way only,
orgasm
not
at the
both
doctor.
ways. That's not the
That
way the
he-
human body works.
He
So
said
when you
no
look
to
at
the
our sex
orgasm,
organs,
and then he
okay,
went on with his
and you
day.
look at ejaculate.
I would
there's no
have
such
been
thing
like,
as
yo, I'm
premature
gonna go home and
ejaculation.
clean this shit,
You're
you know,
horny,
like,
you're ready
fuck,
to go. You're ready to bust a nut. Bust a nut.
busting up.
Don't hold back, because if you hold back,
I don't think
you're building up your blood
Hello,
pressure, which
patriarch.
isn't healthy because you can pop blood vessels. It could be in your brain. You could get a brain aneurysm. Could be in the heart. Could get a heart aneurysm. Okay, but your blood pressure being up like that is not healthy for you. Not unless you're exercising and you're doing it properly. Okay, so that's unhealthy. Then you're preventing the dopamine release, which is a natural chemical in the body, in the brain in particular, that is supposed to be released.
As long as you're regular fetus, you prevent
Orgasm.
infection. Yeah.
You get the
Like, that's what I was
dopamine,
thinking. Like,
and everything's fine.
if cum goes
do
into the
it.
penis, right,
You do
or into the
edge
urinary
play.
tract, just
Edge play, the longer you're doing that,
pee it out.
the more higher your blood pressure goes.
Don't they always say to pee
And
after
the more
sex?
control you are of your
Because of
muscles
that.
Here. You want proper urinary muscle, exercises that will give you some. Okay.
Fuck you,
Don't
bitch.
do
Got
what they
hunted
tell
down.
you to do about pulling in your balls and shit. Don't do that.
Are you gonna
Don't
clean
do
the
that
inside?
advice.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
So,
Yeah, I suppose. But
that
nah,
means
it's
it
like,
goes down,
you know what I
back
mean?
down
Like,
the main tube,
you
right?
fucking almost had an
I'm doing this as a
orgasm,
generalization
and
so I don't lose any
I
of my
never had it at
actual
fucking work or
real
fucking at a
terminology
doctor,
for it.
but apparently fucking
And
Panic
now
Man
it has a
has.
choice.
Like, if
Doesn't
you
go
have
into your
that,
urinary
you know there's
system,
gonna be
because if
some
it does, you got a
juices,
urinary
right?
infection and a
Fucking
possible
clean
bladder.
that shit.
That is not fun. I got put on
But-
Cipro for that shit. That is
As motherfucker says in the beginning of the video, oh, I haven't washed my feet in ages, man. My feet are yellow. Like, do you really think Pac-Man is good with fucking hygiene? I don't think he is.
That's fucking painful. I was urinating every 5 seconds and it fucking burned like a son of
Man,
a
this
bitch.
fucking hard mode is
Worse
easy as
than the
shit.
upper esophageal reflux.
I'm gonna do suicidal in a
And
minute.
it hurt
Endless.
like a son of a bitch. And women can relate to that more than anyone else. I had that happen.
Also, I've
That's
never
why I
heard
sent
of
to a
prostate
urologist, right?
milking.
They needed to see what was going on with me. Fuck,
I've heard
knows
of
what's
just
going on.
milking. That's a
Okay?
femdom thing, right?
And
Where they just
then,
milk your
it
dick
also
out
has
the whole
to go
time.
backing up into where it came from. And if it goes into there, it's going to destroy all the healthy cells that are there. So all
Oh,
your
no,
healthy
not the
sperm
healthy
that is
cells.
there is going to get destroyed by this because it creates this toxic environment.
Yeah, well, it fucking
But it's like
regenerates
taking
after
healthy
fucking
cells,
24 hours. You
right?
just said so.
And then your body says, okay, I'm going to eject the healthy stuff, or I mean the unhealthy stuff, and I'm going to put in new healthy stuff.
Do you guys
So if
know
you
where
have
the
a
Billy
woman
came
trying
from?
to retain her egg
Like,
when her egg is disintegrating.
where did
right?
Billy
Not a
came
good
from?
idea.
Like, I know Billy
She
means
needs to
new,
get that out
or,
because
you
it's
know,
bad for her,
young,
it's unhealthy, and she does it
but
through menstrual,
I don't know where
right?
Tevin got it from.
Men do it through ejaculating. We have this semen built
He says
up.
he gets
It's
Billy
gonna
for
tell you
spelling, it
semen
says it calls
retention.
for
Don't do it.
baiting.
You have this built up. It's
Bullshit.
an acid. You get it out of your system. and
The
you're
hard
good,
fucking shower?
okay?
Hell, go
Then
stand
this
in the
comes from
fucking
the
rain.
system, okay?
You
It's
know?
not good to do.
Just do
retention.
some-
You are meant to orgasm every now and then because you have to. Because you have to.
I'm
get
gonna
the
stay
bad out of
until
your system
wave
in order
15,
for the good to come
and then we're
back
gonna go to
into play.
suicidal, because
Because
fucking
your
EXP is not
semen
happy.
and that all have
They
a
should do
24
like
hour
monthly
cycle,
double
right?
EXP
And
shit, man.
it regenerates itself every 24 hours. The problem here is that every
I'm never
24
gonna get
hours
this
it's
game
regenerating,
finished.
regenerating, but then you got
It's
all
never
this
gonna get
negative
shelved.
stuff
I'm
built
stuck
up.
in
It needs to go.
KF2
It needs to go
hell
somewhere. If it
forever.
doesn't, and you retain it and you keep it in there, it's killing off all the healthy ones.
Actually, it
And
might.
this is why people have low sperm counts.
Maybe I'll stay a little
There's
bit longer,
another
because they
reason
seem
why.
to have more health
There's a lot
now.
of reasons to that too. You know, you're told about keep them hanging low, and all this shit. That's all true. Watch your underwear. That's
Copy
true.
Deller Howard's?
Learn all this from a urologist, you know.
Howard's.
Go see your own
What, Deller
urologist
at
and find
Howard's?
out. Trust me, these guys know what they're
It's
talking
also
about,
like a new
okay?
thing, like, oh, you're a Howard.
And see one of your own sex, because they know you better than anyone. Trust me.
Die,
that's
bitch.
very important, too. So,
Wasting my fucking ammo.
that's what I know about that.
Imbeciles.
Age play is unhealthy, because it fucks with your brain too, but also it backs it up, and it could back up into your urinary tract, which affects your bladder.
Just
and you end up with a
pee
bladder infection
afterwards.
And a urinary infection. Two separate things there. And I had that happen.
How are you
But
today,
it can
good?
also back up into your
How's the car?
where your semen is and that, and destroy the rest of them.
Oh,
I
you
had
said
that
you had a
happen
car
too.
repair a few
I went
days ago.
for a sperm count, and thankfully, after the urologist gave me fucking prostate exam, if you know what I'm saying, he milked my prostate. Okay, he told me this is gonna be painful. Trust me, this is not fun.
Not painful
People
about
say,
that.
oh yeah, I get my
Put a little
boyfriend
finger up
off
your
and he
bum. It's
loves
fine.
it. They're lying. It's painful. I had it done by a professional who knows what they're doing, let alone an amateur girlfriend trying to stick her finger up. No, you're not doing that, honey. I had that shit done by a professional and it fucking hurt. There's no way in fucking hell you're gonna make it feel good. The only reason it feels good is because of the dopamine, because you're having sex with her at the same time. And at the moment that
AC
you're ejaculating,
doesn't
she
work.
sticks
I have
her
to take it
finger
again
up your
tomorrow.
ass and you think
Fuck.
that's great, but it's not. It's not healthy for you. Don't do that. Okay? That's why I ended up at a urologist, right?
Just,
And the urologist told me, look, we need to
Panic Man doesn't understand.
We need
Like,
to get
I had
it
a
out of your
girl
system
explain this to me.
because it's toxic. It's killing
Sometimes
me.
people
I really
like
know it.
pain.
And he's
Like
well,
they
it's
like
gonna
pain
correct
when they
everything,
have
but
when
then,
they have
you know,
sex.
you need to take care of
Therefore, the
business
prostate
right
thing
on a
is
regular
totally
basis, because
viable.
If you don't, you're going to be back in my office again. I'm going to have to do this again. He said, you don't want this done again? Well, bottom line, learn to masturbate on a regular basis. So, the schedule I was given for masturbation was 2 to 3 times a week. So
Yo,
that's Monday,
schedule
Wednesday,
for
Friday.
masturbating.
That's normal. That's healthy.
Oh, that is truly autistic. Yo,
what I
it's
mean?
7 o'clock on a
And
Tuesday. Let me
so,
fucking what?
That's something you're going to need to talk to your urologist, because maybe there's health issues there I don't know about. I'm generalizing this video as in presuming that you're healthy and you're normal, you're like me. And there is no such thing as normal. Normal is different from person to person because everybody's body type is different. Everybody is different because of age and everything like that. And the age thing is bullshit too, okay? Because you're younger doesn't mean you're any more different than I am. Trust me.
Wait,
I
my
am
dad
horny
doesn't have a
24/7,
prostate anymore.
Okay?
Is he in danger
I'm
of
still
urinary
virgin.
attractions?
You know, nothing wrong with that. Just walk a different path. And so, the things I learned, because I was never sexually active with my girlfriends and that, is that because of that retention, I caused another problem. I had 2 problems here. Actually, I had 3 problems. I had a bladder infection, I had a urinary tract infection, that's separate, and I had a toxic infection, which was destroying my
How do you know that,
sperm.
sir?
Okay.
He had to
And
get
I
it
looked
removed
at
for
the sperm
cancer.
count, and thankfully, it came back with.
It was like
Even if I fucked a
I don't know,
woman
like
that has
5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Just had pre-cum, my dudes are super duper heavy swimmers, which means.
Well, nah, it's been like 2 years, but he had cancer in the prostate for like 5 years ago, and it kept coming back even after like the radiation treatment. So they just decided to take it out.
Because I know I can make her pregnant no matter what. I actually had a girlfriend at the time. Not at this time, but I had a girlfriend one time. She told me she was endometriosis. She said she was safe. I could fuck her without a condom and that. Hey, I'm still a virgin. She's trying to talk me into it, right? And I felt uncomfortable about it. And then I find out by a urologist later on, he's like, "You're glad you didn't?" I'm like, "Why?" "Because you would make her pregnant." "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, because your sperm count is super high."
Oh
You
yeah.
got super duper swimmers.
Oh
You
yeah.
can make someone pregnant just from your pre-cum. That's a wake-up call to be really, really responsible with your sexuality.
Panic Man's
right?
so powerful he
But
shoots
you
through
can
the fucking condom,
damage,
boys.
And this is why you're in pain.
I really wish you could get a third weapon.
You need to
A
get
husk
rid of it.
cannon would be
The only way
fucking
that we
nice.
can get rid of it completely is to give you a prostate massage. That gets rid of all of it completely. And if you don't want to come back here, so one was the medication for the urinary stuff, right? And for the bladder infection, and that was Cipro. And then the other one was a medical procedure, which is what it is. Prostate milking is a medical procedure, not to be done at home, done by a professional.
Panic Man's
Okay?
super secret.
And you have to milk it all.
We'll get an
out.
infection like
And
that if it
that's to
doesn't
get
work.
rid of
Yeah,
all the
probably not.
toxicity, because if you don't masturbate on a regular basis, you're gonna have this buildup. So
Took a long
the
time
best
for my
advice
dad. Well,
I can give,
like my dad
coming
couldn't even
from a
cycle
male
in the first
perspective,
year or so.
someone that
Kind of weird how a
has
prostate
an
is needed,
education
eh?
in psychology and has a degree in psychology, has a degree as a
But yeah, fucking
courses, and has 3
prostate cancer is in our
certificates.
family, like it's
And
inherited.
one urologist told me the bottom line is, yes,
So
it's healthy,
when I'm fucking like 40 or
2 to
something,
3
I'm gonna have to
times
have
a
a finger up my bum every
Okay.
year. It's gonna be fucking
because
awesome.
then you won't get the problem
Finally,
I
a
had.
woman's touch.
That's what I was told. The information might have changed by now. I don't know. I'm not a urologist.
Or a 500-pound
But
fireman
so far,
touch. I don't know.
because I do that on a regular basis. No edge play, premature ejaculation, no such thing. You feel like coming, you come. You let it go. Embrace it. Let it happen. Okay? Don't hold back. You hold that back, you could end up with a lot of serious health issues like I explained in this video. Okay? So that's where I'm going to leave it at. That's what I know based on my education. But that's also what I know based on my own personal health when I went to a urologist, because my dick was burning 24/7. And I was told by a doctor, you have a
They won't be
urinary
giving you a
infection.
woman.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
send you
probably
to,
not.
Urologist.
It's probably gonna be like a
And I went to
50-year-old
urologist, and the urologist was like,
fucking
you got way more than
doctor.
that going on. You got a bladder infection and you got this toxicity going on. We need to milk your prostate. And he did it all right there.
Oh, maybe
He
by
gave
the
me
time
right
I'm 40, they have
medication to
like
treat the
machines that
bladder
do it.
infection. He gave me the right medication to treat the urinary infection, and then he milked the hell out of my prostate, and that was fucking painful. There's no fun in having your
You know, a
prostate
Panic Man
milked.
video can be done in
Don't
like 20
believe
minutes.
what women say
Legit.
out there about
He's
male
just been
sexuality.
repeating the same shit over and
don't believe
over.
what men say about male sexuality. Believe the urologist.
And I know what
They
you're
are
thinking,
the
Goon.
sex experts.
Weren't you gonna watch less
Dr.
Panic
Ruth
Man?
Dresheimer is not a
Because
sex expert.
Tevin said it
These
helps
women
with
out
the
there,
viewers.
and
No
men
one's
out
gonna
there
watch me
claiming
play
to be
fucking
sex experts
KF2.
are not sex experts. The real sex experts, the real people you should be getting information from,
7-foot
is
guy with
a
thick fingers gonna
urologist.
rough your butt off.
and if they're not
Yeah.
a urologist, they are not licensed or certified to give you that information. That's where it becomes medical misinformation. I'm sharing with you to the point where my medical
Yeah, I don't
studies
feel like my
allow me
EXP is
to,
going up that
and
much.
then to the point
But I always
where
have that
I
with,
went through this physically. And this is what my urologist
With fucking things,
told
man.
me.
Like with
So all this is not medical misinformation. This is from a
once you hit
urologist
level 20
and from
in
my
any class in this
background
game, it just
medically,
takes
and
so
how it
long
affected
to
my
get to
health.
level
And
25.
ever since I met that urologist, and this happened in the 90s, okay? Ever since I met that urologist, my sexual health has never been better. And my sperm count, super duper hyperactive sperm, to the point I can make anyone pregnant.
Even a
I'm
man?
not joking. You know, so I'm lucky. So don't be stupid.
Then it talks about viewers
like
retention
I
and
was.
random
Don't
people
be
randomly
naive,
come in here
because
for
I
you to
was brought
retain
up
them.
in a heavy
Yeah.
religious family about Roman Catholic and that.
The only
Masturbation
way
is bad and all this.
I would get
Masturbation is
viewers
healthy.
is if I make
Don't
it so
become
like
obsessed with it. 2 to
YouTube
3 times a week is healthy.
videos
Like, have a
and
schedule,
YouTube
Monday,
archives
Wednesday,
and
Friday
YouTube
kind of
clips
thing, right?
and
Because
TikTok
it
clips and
regenerates
shit.
every 24 hours.
Like that's
That
how
makes
Artie
sense,
Reckless
right?
does it. He
get off
just
on
puts
a
all
day,
of his
day
clips
later, it builds
on
up,
TikTok.
The next day you let it go, the day after it builds
But the
up,
thing is, I
you
never
let it
have
go,
funny
and there you go,
clips
right?
unless
Get a
you
schedule.
know the Kukui
That makes
GPM
sense.
shit.
And it does make sense. And to me that made sense. Like, maybe 2 times a week is healthy for you, right? But man, if it gets painful, you better let that go. You better let that go, because if you don't, you could be in for one hell of a trip like I was.
And I don't
then you
mind
need
with
to go
games
get
like
properly
these.
helped by a professional,
Like
which
a game like
is a
SMT, I can
urologist,
understand. Like
and
yeah,
that is
okay,
fucking
maybe
ridiculous.
Pac Man's
I went
not the
through this
best.
myself. This is my
But
own
even
health,
then, when
right?
I'm fucking
And maybe I put
grinding
this
in
under my health
SMT4,
too, you know,
like
my health
tomorrow
too,
we're gonna have
but
to
more than
grind
that, right?
and figure out
So,
a
thank
good
you
way
very
to
much
beat
to-
Krishna.
let
It's
me-
gonna take a while.
Let me acknowledge this person.
We
one
might not
more
even
time
beat
here before we
Krishna
wrap up the
tomorrow, you
video.
know?
I gotta go into the comments here.
Why not listen
My
to some
PlayStation,
Panic Man?
You can see I still have it on here. I'm not joking.
Good as
Not like you're missing story parts.
Roberto Silva, who asked me, I do video
You're
requests.
missing.
Yeah,
You're not even
please,
missing
ask
anything
away.
because
This
you can
is
still
your
see
honor,
and hear the
so I'll do
game.
this for you,
It's
right?
just I'm
do one
fucking
on
grinding. There's no
masturbation, and is it safe
story
or not?
point to take. You know, to
It is
keep attention to.
100%, well, not 100% safe. It is safe if you do it in moderation. That's where it's safe, right? So if you do it a couple times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, it's healthy for you, because you're getting rid of all the bad stuff and
I should
allowing the good stuff
participate
to
in NoFap
Don't edge play.
November,
Don't retain it. You feel
and then
it
just play
coming,
hentai
no,
games
let it
on
come
on
natural.
stream.
You feel it build up. That's normal. It's natural. Your penis is supposed to be sensitive like that.
The ultimate challenge.
Ejaculate. That's how you make women pregnant. It goes right back to our primal animal instincts. This is who we are as animals. Men as animals was meant to go down there and fuck them all and make them all pregnant. That's the truth.
Alright, one more wave and then I'm
Women were
switching
meant
to
to
suicidal.
only have one baby at a time. Well, okay, that's when they ovulate. That's when they're horny, right? Don't bring into religion or any of this and sociology and all this other shit, because that's bullshit. Don't bring in laws into play. I am talking about.
By the way, do you guys know how to
Mother
do
Nature.
the followers
See,
count?
men, as in
emote
humanity,
stuff?
as in the human species, fucked everything up because we made this about sexual pleasure. It was never about sexual pleasure. It was about reproducing the species, okay? And so because it's about that, that is how we work fundamentally.
Chicken
Men
nachos?
fundamentally need to have an
Chicken
orgasm
nachos is a
every
thing?
24 hours or so, okay? Every day.
That
or
sounds
so,
delicious.
alright? So I was
That
told
sounds
by a
actually
urologist
delicious.
2 to 3 times a week.
Chicken nachos.
And that for me worked. And it solved my problem. I never did have another urinary infection. I never
Another
did have
abomination.
another bladder infection. And it never did cause that toxicity problem that I had. Now, whether or not this works
Also,
for you,
sorry for no
is
Gundam
up
stream
to you to
today.
decide.
I kind of went to bed at 8 o'clock. I spent a lot of time in
Don't
Tevin's
listen to
chat
women,
and
don't listen to your partner,
Chenzo's chat.
male or
And
female.
then I started reading the
Go to
fucking
a
D&D
male
book.
urologist if you're male,
It was
and go to a
it was just
female
late.
urologist if
Very
you're
late.
female. 'Cause
I'll
they
try to do
really
one
know
tomorrow.
shit about their own sex because they can relate. I can relate more to men
Try,
than I can to women
emphasis.
because I went through this as a male. This is something that really happened to me.
I really wonder if the,
high
you know the
toxicity level
antidepressants
in my
I get?
blood, that's how they found out because
I
you
wonder
get
if they
a blood
make
test.
me
They run a
sleepy.
bunch of things when you go to
Or not
the
sleepy,
urologist,
but
right?
like
You know, you pee in a cup.
trouble
You have
waking
to
up.
hold it you have to hold it in because
I think I
after
slept
you're
like
straight,
12 hours
God,
today, dude.
It was painful as fuck because you're not supposed to. We know about water poisoning.
Also,
and that, right?
If you see Luke,
you have to. Okay?
don't-
So I remember taking
don't
blood
t-
strips. It
don't,
took me
um,
8 hours to get to the doctor's office.
don't rip on him for not playing Resident Evil 5 today because I told him not to because I wanted to play KF2.
That's how I learned all this. 'Cause I did the
I said rate check on
I did
Resident
the
Evil because I
test,
want to play
did everything.
KF2.
And this is the shit that really happened to me. So
Well, he's
it's
a lot more
dangerous
powerful.
to
That's
do edge play.
good at least.
It's
Maybe I should
dangerous
stay.
to do
Maybe
retention.
my efforts, like I
There is no
could
such
leave,
thing
but then
as premature
you know.
ejaculation. Ejaculate when you're meant to. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't become obsessed. Then.
I would do that. I don't
And do
know.
remember, there's a chemical reaction in the brain
Because
called
I told
dopamine.
Goon, like
And allow
fucking
that to
Thursday or
happen.
something like that, we were gonna
Normally.
play Resident Evil
And
on a
don't
Sunday.
make your blood pressure
And then Goon was like, "Oh, watch him ditch it," and it's kind of true, but I ditched it this time
And it fucks with the dopamine release. Because the dopamine's like, hell no, I want
because I was like, "Nah, I want to play some Killing
You're
Floor.
not allowing it proper release.
I want to get this
It's
shit done."
mind function, too. Because in your
I
fucking
enjoy it
brain
though. It's just
chemistry in ways
there's not
that
much to
we
talk
don't
about. That's the
understand.
thing. I
That would be a video into
I can't really
itself.
talk a lot
So I'm
about a lot of
covering
things. That's why
everything,
Panic
you
Man
know.
helps because I can
And
talk
the
about
bottom line
weird
is,
subjects
this
like
does affect
ejaculation.
your physical health. It does affect your mental health in terms of the dopamine, and it affects your sexuality because it could ruin your sperm count.
Sperm
It
count?
could affect your urinary system, like I explained earlier. So yeah, this is everything I have to say about it. I can think of off the top of my head. I did a thing on male sexuality or something like that. Men's health. I did a video a long time ago on men's health, and some people got back to me and said, "Thank you for that. You're welcome." You might want to go look at that too, just in case there's something here that I missed. But I think that's everything that I know, and what happened to me personally and how it affected me. So, masturbation on a regular basis is perfectly normal. Let go when you're meant to let go.
Let it go.
Okay? Don't hold back. Don't hold it in. And don't think you're going to be a stud in bed because you're holding it in. If women are going to mock you and laugh at you because
Hey,
they
let's
say
let
you're
this shit
terrible and
go
because
in.
you come quickly, you're supposed to. That's normal. It's healthy. Women do not know men's health. They just want it to last longer so that they can get off. Understand, this was never about sexual satisfaction. It was about appropriating the species. And we turned it into sexual satisfaction. Just because you can do certain things doesn't mean you should. And we think we're learning more and more about things. Remember, you don't know how damaging something is until something bad happens, right? Then learn from my experience. These are the things that happened to me in a bad way. And I wasn't doing edge porn. I would never condone edge porn. I would never condone
Finger up the bum.
someone using terminology like premature ejaculation that shows me that they're immature. Because they don't know men's sexuality.
Or maybe they just want to have
People
fun
that
in the
do
fucking bedroom,
or
Panic Man.
urologists, and in particular,
You ever think of that?
urologists, right?
Maybe it's not about
They really
Mother
understand.
Nature and shit. Maybe we're
And
just
that's
creatures
who
who
I
want to have
recommend
fun,
you
like
see is a
dolphins.
male urologist. So is masturbating normal? Yes. Don't hold back. Let it go.
Let
Do
it
it 2 or
go.
3 times
Can't
a
hold me
week,
back anymore.
And
Request healing?
Don't do edge porn.
Request healing.
okay, don't. It's not healthy for you. And don't allow someone to shame you in the bedroom just because they say you're lousy in bed because you don't last long.
See, if that was suicidal, I
That's
would
like
have
saying that we're
died
gonna judge
6
you
times
based off of
already.
Your dick size too. That's another falsehood. No matter what your dick size is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're small, medium, or large. You want to know the truth about men's penis size? I'll tell you the truth. I'm talking about this from a medical perspective, okay? You don't believe me? Look it up. 80% of men are 5 to 6 inches, and the other 20. Okay, so that was like 51 minutes in, and my battery died. So yeah. So anyway, so just to end the video here, okay? 80% of men are about 5 to 6 inches long.
I don't even know what
10%
inches
of
is.
men are small, and 10% of men are big. In other words, the porn stars, the people you think are normal, are abnormal. There's only 10% of men that are that big. 80% of men are 5 to 6
I think
inches.
it's
and
also
10%
race.
of men are small.
Like if you're
That's the
fucking,
fact about dick
black,
size, okay?
you got a big dick.
So if
think
you're
that's-
small,
I think
don't
that's
feel
true.
bad. If you're big,
It might be stereotypical here, but
don't feel bad neither. I mean,
seen a few of them, man. They're fucking.
And if you're in the 80% range, that's what's considered normal. But the thing is, it's not about the size. It's about how you use it, right?
I'm coming, gunslinger.
Guys with big dicks tend to think that they're awesome in bed. So they become egotistical, selfish, and
Yeah, there you go.
they're not good in bed. Whereas guys that are normal are confident, but guys that are small feel like they need to make up. And they're actually the best in bed. Because they will do oral sex, they will do all sorts of things.
I wonder where he gets this
Don't make sure you have to
information
have
from.
intercourse, right? You can fuck her and have a good time and get off, but then you're gonna try harder too, because you're gonna be drilling and moving and gyrating your hips and that and rotating.
I
and
can
all sorts of
upgrade
shit
it
and
again.
getting her off
No, I
with
can
her
upgrade
clit.
this.
Right? May not be your penis that gets her off in a G-spot, but it may be like, you know, your rotations and that get her off with the clitoris. And if that doesn't
The
work, you
clitoris.
still got your mouth and fingers. There's hundreds, thousands of ways to get your partner off. I don't know why people are so fixated on dick size. I don't know why people are so fixated on performance in the bedroom. It's all bullshit and all stress that doesn't need to be there.
It's
And
not
stress
though,
is
is
the number
it?
one killer of the bedroom in the first place.
If a woman likes
As
it
soon
big, a
as
woman
someone
likes it
makes
big.
a negative
Just
space,
the way it
it
is.
becomes a
It's
negative space,
fucking
and that's it. It's
sexual
done.
preference or some
Because
shit.
sex is right here, to be honest with you. If you're really into your partner, you'll be able to give them amazing sex. No matter what. Because you're going to try everything. You'll try your elbows, you know, you'll try your knuckles, you'll try whatever. You know, she'll have a good time eventually. You know. So you know what, guys, when it comes to the bedroom, don't sweat it. Now when it comes to masturbating, yes, it's healthy. Just don't become obsessed by it, that's all. Have a schedule where it's regular for you, right? You know, you'll know. But if you start to get pain in that, stop. Pain is always an indicator that you're doing something wrong. Okay? Always. Listen to your body, right? You had a good orgasm? Great. Leave it at that. You know. But the real sex experts are the urologists. That's what
I'm
they
dead.
specialize in. Not Dr. Ruth
Definitely dead.
Montgomery, not these other people out there claiming they're a sex expert or a specialist or something like that. That's upselling. The real ones are urologists. That's who you really want to talk to. But this is me as a 54-year-old male. This is
Virgin.
something I went through way back in the 90s, and this is 2021, so do the math there. How old I was back then. And that was what I went through back then.
Nice.
And I haven't since. Because I listened to the urologist. And he was right. Okay? So, that's everything I have to say in a nutshell about that. Well, a rather long nutshell. It's almost an hour long. But thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you found it informative. I hope it's helpful to people out there. Because that's why I make these videos, you know. But my honest opinion in the end is go see a urologist. They'll tell you everything, you know. But the odds are if you go into a urologist, you go in there because you already got the problem like I did, right? You either have a urinary infection, a bladder infection, or the other thing. And milking your prostate is not fun. And if you think it's fun, don't do it. Just don't. Just trust me. Unless you have to have it done because of toxic levels, right? So that's it, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. And thank you for watching.
That was a great video. Right, I'm gonna end it soon anyway, so, song requests. Go ahead. Song request away. Oof. Do 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 do. Ba da 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 bow bow bow. Da 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 do do do. But yeah, tomorrow we're gonna do fucking thingy. SMT. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know why, but I'm excited. Up.
I'll fix you. You're going down. We need you fighting fit. New round in.
Before I decide to shut the pod. There's fuel tanks on the husk back. Have plenty of armor. Don't even try to shoot them. Really. Plenty of armor.
Performance so far, but I'm not loving the quiet.
Think fast. Or as fast as you can. So, think slow.
Rolling it.
Feeling like it's time to get another tap.
T-minus 10 seconds. Until you're dead. Didn't want you to get bored. So I made something special.
Oh god.
I'm just getting started.
Deal with the stragglers. I'll make sure the next round is a challenge.
Get it on, mate. Fit as a fiddle. You faking, mate.
Going to the pod. Buy things. Nothing
Woo!
will matter. You'll still die. You have how much gosh? That can't be right. You must be cheating.
Yeah, I'm reloading.
Yeah, I'm reloading.
Squad health check.
The Zeds will be there soon to alleviate your suffering.
Did yours not add? Eagles for hands? See what happens to it. Oh, that was that one. Fair enough.
New tricks for you. Biting,
Oh, blow. This is gonna be easy.
killing tricks.
I thought you had it too. Sorry.
Tear you a new one. You dead. Faking, mate. You dead.
Ah, I forgot to ask. Were you busy with So yeah, so just work or what? Remember me. If you don't want to answer, that's fine too, by the way. Just trying to make light conversation. Remember me, I want to be. Oh, we might die here.
Your incessant gobbling of money. I will exterminate you. Time for a new experiment. Let's try gas. There is nothing
Remember me. To be, remember me. Pounding, pounding. No, you don't. Yeah, fuck you, bitch. Fuck, he healed himself. I killed Hans! Fuck yeah, bitch.
Anyone need some money?
Dun, 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 dun. This. Alright, we're gonna keep it going until I hit level 23. Maybe a bit longer, I don't know.
You say something. Lost contact with hostile. You fake it, mate. You dead. Not anymore. You say
Do you like my car? Yes, she's ready. I'm ready for you. Why is there no Eurobeat rhythm game? Why has that not happened yet? Gas, I'm gonna rap on the gas. Tonight it's fun. Still not level 23. Jesus Christ, this fucking leveling system, man. Takes so fucking long. Let it go. Take my car. Oh, what you? Oh, Jesus Christ. Ugh. Tonight is right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Guys. Tonight is right. Why didn't I buy any armor? Am I retarded? there we go, level 23. 2 more levels. That's a good ass medic.
Move on, mate. Plenty of live ones left. There it is! Siren, watch your ears! Gold, let me.
The next one will be harder.
We've got a siren! You say something. You're faking, mate. You say something. Enjoy.
The resupply pod is open. Spend your intelligence, shut up. You killed that many things by picking up.
Yeah, fuck it. We're done. We're done. Night on fire. Night on fire. Over me. Night on fire. Mama over me and turn it on fire. Right. Let's go raid the Gunster. I'll see you guys tomorrow for SMT. Yeah. We're gonna have a good time with SMT.